Welcome back to the Beauty Lab podcast. I'm Velia, and this is my co-host Monina. And today we're going to talk about how the cold weather doesn't just bring out the pumpkin spice lattes and cozy sweaters, but it also brings up a lot of skin confusion. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to go over some myths, and hopefully you can debunk them and give us the truths behind all of these things.
Myth busting today.
Myth busting. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to the Beauty Lab podcast, your drive time resource for all things beauty, health, and wellness. We're your hosts and favorite beauty nerds, Monina and Velia.
Join us as we debunk myths, explore the latest trends, and dive deep into the science behind your favorite products. We'll interview industry experts and answer your burning beauty questions in 30 minutes or less.
Okay, myth number 1. You don't need SPF in the winter. So, does sunscreen still matter if it's cold and cloudy out?
So, I'm sure most of you know the answer to this already, but I can see why. Like cloud cover, people are like, well, the sun is, it's not out, or it's winter time, the days are shorter. Do I really need SPF? Well, you have to remember UVA rays are those really long rays, so they actually penetrate through cloud cover, and they can penetrate through glass. So even while you're driving, you still want to protect your skin. So even my clients that say, well, I only drive, to and from work. Well, if it's a 30-minute drive and that sun is beating on you through the glass for 30 minutes, you are getting sun damage. So yes, even though it's cloudy, that's actually the worst time to not wear sunscreen, right? And then if you actually ski during the winter, the snow becomes a perfect reflection. I mean, it reflects right off of it, and you actually get burned even more and quicker. So not only are you getting like the wind burn, but now you're getting a sunburn on top of that. That's why a lot of people get really, really chapped, cracked lips, their skin looks really red and irritated after they've gone skiing. So moisturizing and sunscreen.
Yeah, they have like a goggles line.
Yes, exactly, right? People are like, oh, it's just wind burn. No, it's also because the sun is like a perfect reflector, right? Remember back in the day when people would try to get tanning and they'd have the foil things in front of them? It's the same concept. It's like bouncing right off and onto your skin and wreaking havoc. So, yes, you want to wear sunscreen even during the winter months, because you remember it accelerates damage, right? Accelerates aging. It breaks down the collagen, so you'll actually get deeper lines, or you'll get lines quicker even if you're still young and you've got really nice supple skin. If you're constantly skiing or not wearing sunscreen during the winter months, you'll notice you might even age quicker during those winter months.
So with that said, if you don't burn, do you still experience the breaking down of the collagen and all of those kinds of things that you just mentioned?
Yeah. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So remember when in the past we've talked about sunscreens, there's something called UVA and UVB. And you remember I've taught you UVA means you will age. So those are your aging rays. UVB are your burning rays. So burning rays are actually shorter, and so they don't penetrate all the way down the dermis. They just kind of literally are burning the top of your skin.
Okay.
So your question was UVA. UVA will penetrate down to the dermis and break down the collagen, so it accelerates the aging process, where UVB rays are literally the burning rays. So they're going to burn or also create pigmentation and things like that. So they're both wreak havoc on the skin, but it's the longer rays during those cloud cover days that we're worried about.
Okay, so just because you're not burning doesn't mean you're not causing damage.
Exactly. Good point.
And like the longer lasting damage too.
Right, because you're literally breaking down the collagen and the suppleness of the skin. You're going to start to see deeper lines and wrinkles, things like that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, my next myth is about like creams and moisturizers. So as it's getting colder, like it's kind of intuitive that you would just start using like a thicker, more emollient cream. So should we be switching to heavier creams and moisturizers in the winter?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Not necessarily. I know some people they feel like they just get more dry. They lose more moisture in the wintertime. And remember, we're losing moisture because the cold air is pulling moisture from everything, from your hair and your skin, everything. So because you're more dehydrated, you want to do more moisturizer, like a heavier moisturizer. That's really not where you want to go, because thicker creams can actually lead to clogged pores. Because we also want to look at your skin type, and we've talked about that in other episodes. So if you want more information on your skin type, please listen to that. But as far as this myth is concerned, if you are someone like me with oilier skin, yes, I get dehydrated in the wintertime, but using a heavier cream isn't necessarily the answer. In fact, you can end up clogging the pores if you're using the wrong product altogether. And when you've got clogged pores and buildup of dead skin and too much product, you're actually preventing absorption of your moisturizers and your serums that you're trying to use to combat the dryness of the skin. So no, the answer is no, you don't need a thicker cream. You just want to maybe switch it. So my pro tip is layering humectants like hyaluronic acid, humectants are water-loving ingredients. So things like hyaluronic acid, or your facial oils like that have like a nourishing, like avocado oil, things like that actually help to restore the hydration in the skin and actually protect the barrier. So barrier protecting moisturizers, things like that would actually be better. So layering humectants and your moisturizers is actually a much better trick than just putting on a heavier cream.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because I have switched to a heavier cream in the wintertime, or even when I'm just feeling like a little bit more dry. And I would normally just kind of go through my regular layers of things that I would normally put on, but then I would just go, okay, like let me grab my heavier moisturizer. And I do feel like, well, that was too heavy, because now I feel like I have like some breakouts or whatever.
Right.
So instead of the thicker, heavier moisturizer, you want to use something that kind of helps lock in the moisture from even being able to escape, which is not your moisturizer.
Right.
Which is an oil or a
facial
humectant.
oils, humectants, exactly. So you want to layer those. So your humectants, your oils, and then a barrier protecting moisturizer on top of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it could even be a really light gel moisturizer, but because you're layering the humectants and the oils, it gives you a much better result.
Okay, I have a question for you that maybe you don't know the answer to, but does that same concept work for the skin on your body? Like instead of, because I generally would go to something more heavy as far as a moisturizer goes for the rest of my body in the winter time when I'm starting to feel more dry, or even in like the drier temperatures in the summertime. Should I just be adding an oil, like layering an oil on top of, do an oil first and then my moisturizer?
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you're like, I just don't have time to layer, you can put the oil and your moisturizer and put them together and then rub it together. You can totally do that on your body.
Can you do that on your face?
You can do that on your face too.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But
is there any benefit to doing one layer at a time?
Not necessarily. I mean, for the face, I know that certain products have a molecular weight. So technically you would like to put the ones that have a smaller molecular weight. You want those in first, and then the bigger molecular weight on top of that. That's why I always say, if you're putting on several things on the skin, you want to go from thinnest to thickest. So
yes,
I for the face, I'd prefer you don't mix it all together, but for the body, I think you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good question.
Okay. All right. My third myth is exfoliating in the winter is bad, which that myth makes me sad. Because I am an exfoliator.
She's the exfoliating queen.
I am.
I'm the sunscreen queen.
So should we stop exfoliating in the winter? Please say no, please say no, please say no.
You always want to exfoliate, because year round your skin is you have a cellular turnover that's happening all the time, which is your skin's natural ability to shed old skin and new skin come up. But when we have dead layers of skin, especially during the winter months when we're dehydrated, maybe we're not moisturizing, and so dead layers of skin are building up, that can actually block your moisturizer and serums from being absorbed into the skin. And so then you go to put on moisturizer, but you haven't exfoliated. It's like putting moisturizer on like a brick wall. Like it's not going to go anywhere, right?
Okay.
So exfoliating, getting rid of that dead layer of skin also helps to show more of a glow, because then you're removing the dead skin and revealing all the new skin underneath, which is a lot more moist and supple and just looks healthier. So you always want to exfoliate. Now in the wintertime, maybe I suggest avoid more of the mechanical exfoliants. If you feel like that's just a little too harsh in the winter months, maybe stick to enzyme-based exfoliants. I have a really good one. So in the wintertime, when I do my facials, I use a warming winter enzyme, and it smells really good. So it's got things like nutmeg and cinnamon and vanilla. So your face smells like a latte.
That's important.
But it also is exfoliating, and it's a lot more gentle on the skin and helping to exfoliate the top layer of the dead skin. Or you can go to more of your lactic acid enzyme, and you can just do once to twice a week instead of every day. You kind of don't want to do every day anyways. Even when we talked about skin cycling, remember when we said like every fourth day? But with an enzyme, you can go 1 to 2 times a week. Is totally fine. And again, just avoid all of the really harsh mechanical type of exfoliants. So the ones that have the little grains and stuff like that, maybe just do that. Maybe once a week or every other week.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. If you are enjoying this episode, please like, share, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please download the episode. It helps our show so much. And if you're getting value from this podcast, it would be amazing to share this information with somebody that you think would benefit from it. And thank you again for being here and listening to us. Hopefully you're learning something every week. Okay, my next myth is oily skin doesn't need moisture. This is a tough one because I have kind of gone from in and out of oily skin throughout my life, and it's like kind of a hard one to motivate yourself to put moisturizer on when you already feel like you're so oily.
Yeah.
So if my skin is producing so much oil, why do I need more moisture?
Okay, this is a really good myth, because you're right. Because if you're feeling already like an oil slick, the last thing you want to do is put more moisture on there. But you have to remember that extra oil production is being triggered because you're dehydrated. So in the winter months, people will say, in the winter months, I have oily skin, but I feel like I'm even oilier. Well, that should make you realize that you're not moisturizing enough, because remember, your skin it's like 70% water. It needs water, it needs moisture. So interestingly enough, when you lack moisture on the top part of the skin, it's going to pull water from anywhere it can. Unfortunately, the first place is actually collagen. It'll start to deplete your collagen. So okay, we already have like a little amount of collagen at this stage of our life, right? So now if you're dehydrated, it's pulling from there. But then secondly, it's going to then kick in and trigger oil production because it needs moisture. So it's the extra oil is actually a reaction to the skin being dehydrated, because your skin can be oily and dehydrated at the same time, right? So hydration doesn't necessarily mean your skin is oily. It's because your skin actually is a balance of oil and water. We need both, okay? And we need both to keep the skin at a healthy balance, or what we call osmosis, right? So yeah, when you're dehydrated, you're actually increasing oil production in the skin, which is what we don't want. So when you're dehydrated or you're getting oilier, you actually want to do a moisturizer, because once you put the humectants and the water-loving ingredients on your skin, now the skin's like, oh, we don't have to produce.
Yeah, we don't have to work as hard.
Yeah, we don't have to produce all this extra oil. You know, we could just go about our day and not have to defend it from dehydration. So My tip then would be maybe in the winter months, reach for an oil-free moisturizer or a water-based gel moisturizer or an emulsion, something that will help balance the sebum production. And if you do the layering like we talked about, you'll notice it doesn't feel heavy. Because if you're doing like a humectant and then you're layering it with like a water-based gel moisturizer, it's super light, but you're literally preventing that dehydration and that loss of water from happening throughout the day.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay, a couple more questions.
Okay.
Here's another myth. More products equals more hydration. So if I just keep layering.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, we just said layering is good, right? And then we said no heavy creams. So if you're layering like more moisturizer and more creams and like overdoing, you have to remember your skin is porous and it has a saturation point.
Yeah.
So if you're over inundating it and putting too much product, you'll actually notice, you'll know that you've overdone it and oversaturated the skin, because have you ever noticed like you've put that 10th layer on and now everything's peeling off? It's like, you're like, wait, nothing's absorbing anymore. That's because you've oversaturated the skin.
Okay.
It's just way too much. So if you are going to layer, maybe 2 or 3 things.
Okay.
And that's it.
2 or 3 things after your toner and moisturizer,
Right. No,
or
well,
including?
yeah, so you're going to cleanse and tone, and after you tone, you could do like a serum, like a hyaluronic serum, and then your moisturizer. Or you could do 2 types, like a humectant, a facial oil, and a moisturizer.
Okay.
And then that. But again, like you can tell, like I said, it'll start to like not absorb anymore. It just starts peeling off. Like little pills, they're just rolling off your face. That's when you know you've overdone it. So.
Yes, I have so many different serums and potions at home that I'm like, oh, which one do I use today? And then I like have to pick and choose because I like want to use them all.
I'm the same way. So what you can do is maybe, let's say you have 4 serums. So we'll do 2 at night and 2 in the morning. And that way you're still using them all.
What if you have like 12?
All right.
When you have too many to begin with and you need a support group?
3 this day. 3. I'm going to have to break it up. Velia, I'm going to have to look at your stuff.
I know. You're like, wait a minute. How do you have so many?
These are the exact same things. So yeah, I know. I get it, you guys. It gets very confusing. But first thing is know your skin type. And then secondly, you can layer, but don't oversaturate the skin.
All right, I have one more myth for you to bust.
One more.
You can't repair your skin barrier in the winter. So, is it too late in the winter to repair the damage that you...
I know. It's like we just want to go into hibernation, right? In the winter time.
I do.
But with that said, though, winter is perfect for rebuilding your barrier with restorative treatments.
Okay.
So certain ingredients you want to add in the wintertime will actually help to heal the barrier, because your skin's renewal cycle naturally slows down in the winter. That's why a lot of animals do go in hibernation, right? Everything starts to slow down. So supporting the skin with barrier-loving products helps to build everything from inside out. So it's a perfect time to start rebuilding the barrier in the winter time, because we do kind of slow down anyway. So it's a perfect time to do this. So my tip would be to start including and incorporating barrier creams. There's so many creams out there now that do have restorative loving ingredients for the barrier, because now we're starting to realize a lot of our skin issues are because we have a compromised barrier. My favorite one is called Osmosis Rescue MD, and what it does is it helps to not only repair the barrier, but it helps with the skin texture, helps with over oil production, it helps with holding on to moisture. So this is a good time to start incorporating things like that into your regular routine. Ceramide masks that mask that I gave you a few weeks back, this is a perfect time to be doing that. And then also things like LED light therapy helps to repair and give you that natural glow in the skin as well. So yeah, winter's a good time to step back and just really love on yourself and start incorporating maybe a few more products that maybe you weren't using before. So
when you are working on repairing your barrier, can you give us like a little like step-by-step sort of thing, like how do I even know? I think I might be working on it.
No, I mean everything we talked about actually all is part of the routine. So wearing that sunscreen to prevent any more damage from happening, using the appropriate moisturizers and facial oils to lock in that moisture, that really helps keep the barrier healthy. And then using products that have the appropriate pH level. You're not just stripping it. And then using a really hydrating and barrier protective type of serum or moisturizer. That's really what you want to be doing in the wintertime, is really focusing on moisturizing and protecting the skin barrier. If you do those two things, you'll notice your skin won't go out of whack in the wintertime like it does usually, you know. But yeah.
All right.
That's
awesome.
Pretty much it, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for all of that. I realize that I'm repairing my barrier.
Yes.
Without knowing that that's what I'm doing. Because you're hearing a lot of like barrier this, barrier that. And I feel like it's one of those things where I hear it and I kind of roll my eyes a little bit because
it goes in one ear, out the other. Really, when we're talking about the barrier, it's keeping the moisture level in there and protecting it from more damage. You know, and like I said, everyone that I run across that has like topical dermatitis or, you know, any type of like skin condition leads back to a compromised barrier. So when I say barrier, I'm talking about it's your skin's first line of defense. And so having that happy medium of oil and water, so important. And then just protecting it, wearing that sunscreen, wearing that moisturizer, locking everything in. That keeps the integrity of your barrier healthy and strong.
Yeah. And we'll link some of the products that Monina mentioned in the show notes.
Absolutely.
So you know what to get when you're like, okay, I want to do this barrier repair thing.
Yeah. And it's not hard. Maybe it's just one or two things that you don't have now in your current routine, and you'll notice a huge difference.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you again for listening. I'm Velia.
I'm Monina.
And until next time, keep experimenting with your beauty routine.